So the sine rule occurs whenever you have two given sides and an angle that's not included. So let's see here. So we have a side here. Okay, so we have side there. And let's say we have two given sides. Okay, so let's say this is, or let's give it a bigger number because that 8 and that 12 look a little bit too close. Okay. And so let's say this is maybe 56 degrees, for example. And so we have two given sides and a non-included angle. And notice how the angles are opposite the sides that are being focused on. So if I had this 8 kilometers over here, my angle that I would be focused on with the sine rule would have been over here. Please bear that in mind. Okay. So with the sine rule, look for a relationship between the angle and the side, right? So this side here would be labeled, well, let's label this. Okay, so let's label A, B, C. Okay. And so we know that the angle is associated with the side. So we know that this side is actually going to be B. And we know that this side can be labeled. What's this side going to be labeled?
A.
A, that's correct. All right, so let me just. All right, so that's A. All right, so if we want to use this rule, and right now it looks like we're looking for an angle. Looks like that's what's missing in this problem. So we're looking for this angle. Okay, and we'll label that angle X. So it is the angle B, but we have given it the value X. If there is no value given here, if there's no term given, then you could just use B as your angle. So if we're looking to use the sine rule, you set up the problem like this. Since we're looking for an angle, we'll put the angle portion of the sine rule at the top. And this sine X relates to which length, guys? Is it going to be 15 or 8?
8, sir.
8. Now, if I was looking for the side, let's say I had this angle, but I was missing this, guys. Then I would have had this problem flipped the other way around. Okay? All right, so now we're looking at sine of 56. Now, we purposely have sine of X here and not here. Why did we have it here, guys? Why didn't I just start with sine of 56 here and then put sine of X over here? Why did I put sine of X on the left-hand side? Okay, so This follows the sine rule. Why I have the sine of x here is because we always like to solve, we have the unknowns on the left-hand side. So if it was over here, my work would have been to get it one by itself. I would have had to get sine of x by itself and then get it to the left-hand side. So here's the actual rule I'm applying right now. There's two ways to represent it. This is the way that's most popular that you'll see if you look up sine rule. Okay, and know that this could have been B and C, okay, or A and C. So don't let the lettering become a big issue. This is if I want to find a side. This is for finding the side. And if I flip it upside down like I have in this problem that we're working on, then I'm looking for the angle. So in this problem I'm working on, I have it flipped. So here we have, so which one are we using? We're not looking for a side, so we're not using this one. We're using this rule here. It's the same rule, it's just flipped. Okay, so that's what we're doing right now. And so let's continue. So now the next step would be, well, it looks like we should do cross multiply. And we can actually cross multiply this, but just that it'll give us an extra step. The best thing I would tell you to do right now is to multiply both sides by 8. Can anybody tell me why I'm multiplying both sides by 8? 8 km. Why is teacher doing that?
Sure, you want to left the sine x by itself?
That's correct. So because this 8 km is actually over 1, and this 8 km is actually under 1, there's a 1 here. This is actually saying 1 over 8 km, just that that fraction is being multiplied by sine of x. So therefore we can actually say this is saying 8 over 8, which is 1. But what we do in math is that we cancel, right? We cancel them out to show that they're becoming 1. Okay, so now we end up with just sine of x, and we have the 8 km. Now remember, this 8 km is over 1, right? So therefore, we have sine of x, sine of 56 times 8 km over 15 km. So that's how the problem looks now. Okay, so now our task, guys, is to find out what sine of 56 is. So get out your calculators if you don't have them out already. And we need to solve sine of 56. Some of you can just type in 56 and hit sine and get the answer. If you have a programmable calculator, then you need to hit the sine button first and hit type in 56 and press enter. What do you get? Let's go to 3 decimal places.
.829.
Very good. 0.829, and that will be multiplied to 8 kilometers, 8 km, and still have it over 15 km. Okay. And now what we want to do is multiply 0.829 times 8. What do you get? You get 6.
6.632.
All right, 6.632. I got the same thing. And this is divided by 15 km. This is also still km, okay, guys? But watch what happens to these km's here. Km over km, what happens to that? Mathematically, what will happen to those km's?
Only one will stay.
No, actually, only one would stay if this was km squared divided by km. Then yes, one would stay, because it would be something like this. If it was km squared over km, then this is what would actually be happening here. We would actually have km times km. So we're doing algebra on the units of measurement themselves, right? So this is what it really means. Then you would, you could cancel out, but notice what remains. 1 km would remain in this case. But if it's just km over km, then we cancel them. They just cancel out, and they're gone. And now we divide 6.632 by 15, and we get 0.44. Okay, 442. And this is sine of x. All right, now here's the fun part. If you have a non-programmable calculator like the old school kind, what you would do right now is type in 0.442. You would hit the shift key and then hit the sine key. So you would press, right? You would press the shift key after you type in 0.442, press the shift key and then press the sine button, and you would get your answer. You should get your angle. Because right now, what we're looking for is x. X is my angle I'm looking for. And the whole process of pressing the shift button is so that you can change sine into the inverse of sine. The inverse, which is sine to the power -1, which is just another way of saying 1 over sine. All right, so we're dividing both sides by sine. All right, so what we're doing is finding the angle. Instead of finding a side, we're finding the angle. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And now, what angle did you get, guys? For those with programmable calculators, you would actually hit the shift button, then sine, open bracket, type in 0.442, close bracket, press the enter button, the equal button, and get your answer. What did you guys get? Round off to the nearest degree. So don't give me the points. Don't give me the decimal points. Just give me the nearest degree.
Sir, I get 26.
26 is okay. 26. Anybody get something different? .26 is the answer. Okay, 26 degrees. After the 26, you have a 26.2. Well, that's less than 0.5. So if it was 26.5, then the nearest degree would have been 27. But because it's 26.2, our nearest degree is 26.